dog.
Three-quarters and 124.4.
Nitro keeps great on top by 4 lengths.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Race Book here at Harrah's Chester. I'm Steve Ross, and we have an exciting show planned for you today off the biggest day in the history of Pennsylvania harness racing. The gentleman to my left is Director of Racing Operations here, Mike Tanner, and the beautiful lady to his left is the always reliable, always knowledgeable Shannon D'Antonio. Mike, I want to ask you a couple of questions. On Sunday, which was the biggest day, $2.3 million in purses were given away. It was a wonderful day. Traffic was backed up on 291. I found it difficult even to get into the parking lot. It was a great day. The weather was perfect. It was the racing capital of the world. But as they say, in every sunshine, every bit of sunshine, rather, some rain must fall. And that was the case in the 12th race, wasn't it?
Yeah, the day had exceeded our expectations up to that point, and then unfortunately there was a rather spectacular looking accident during that event. Faked an Ario driven by Eric Goodell just tripped is really all that we really can say from looking at the tapes, and a couple of horses and drivers went over top. Now all of the horses were able to walk away from that. 2 of the drivers were able to walk away from that. Unfortunately, Eric Goodell and Kat Manzi both were transported to the hospital. Eric fortunately sustained some pretty bad bruising, but he's already back driving and winning here at Harrah's Chester. Kat Manzi not so fortunate, a broken collarbone, a few broken ribs. He's back at home recuperating in Freehold, New Jersey, but he's going to be out a little while.
It was a very scary looking spill, but I think the fans ought to know that it is certainly not the average, and percentage-wise, accidents at racetracks and harness tracks and whatever else is really infinitesimal, is it not?
Yeah, indeed. It's very, very rare, thank goodness. I can think of only one other instance in our existence in which a driver has come out of the bike, and certainly not one that happened with several drivers hitting the ground in one race. I will say that I'm just so proud of everyone here, how it was handled. The EMTs were there in a flash and took great care of the drivers until they were transported to the hospital. Our outrider, Patrick Scanlon, did a masterful job of corralling a loose Western Ace, who was the second horse involved, and steering that one out of harm's way. The horsemen responded very quickly. Our paddock judge, Sonny Kristofalski, was quarterbacking things. It's one of those things you never want to see happen, but I'm very happy as to the way that it was treated and responded to.
Mike, despite the accident, there was 11 solid good races that day. Can you talk about some of the other positives that happened?
Absolutely. Fantastic racing on the card. Started with a sub-150 mile in the first race, and that really set the tone, I think, for everything. Tug River Princess certainly was all that she was advertised to be in the Valley Forge. We saw Crazed, who was the runner-up in the Hambletonian, just draw off and win by over 5 lengths in the Colonial, and set off really a raucous winner's circle ceremony following that race. And Badlands Nitro established himself as one of the top 3-year-old pacers in the country. He's going on to the Cane Pace, fresh off of his dominating score in the Battle of the Brandywine.
That's right, and speaking of the Battle of Brandywine, let's pick it up right there. It's the 32nd edition of the battle for $500,000. Brian Sears and Badlands Nitro, they drew the rail. They were the heavy favorite. Sears won this race last year with Always a Virgin. Dolly picks up Ron Pierce and Share the Delight. Third in the Meadowlands Pace to Art Officials. Going to have some luck here from Post 8. Let's watch.
And they're off. McCedes has the early lead along the inside. Blue Ridge Western in second. On the outside, Dolly is parked third at this point by 2 lengths. Then comes John Campbell with Share the Delight, who's fourth at this point. Badlands Nitro is fifth, about 5.5 from the front as they move to the top of the stretch for the first time. And the Battle of Brandywine continues, and the battle up front continues. McCedes on the inside, and on the outside here comes Dolly and Ron Pierce. Paces up on the outside to take command with Dolly at 45-1. Second at this point, Blue Ridge Western. Then comes McCedes, who's in third. And Share the Delight is tipped off the inside by John Campbell to be fourth at this point. Badlands Nitro is fifth. about 5 lengths from the front. Along the inside, Mystery Chase is 6th. On the outside, that's up front Hannah's Boy, who's 7th at this point, and Mystery Chase is now at the back of the pack. The quarter was in 26 seconds, the half in 54 and 3. They head down the back stretch, and it is Dolly leading the way. The long shot with Ron Pierce in the bike has it by 3 parts of a length. And on the outside, that's Share the Delight, who's moving ever closer in second. Along the inside, Blue Ridge Western is trapped 3rd at this point. And on the outside, Badlands Nitro is 4th, gaining ground with every stride as they move to the top of the stretch. 3/4 on the board in 1:22 and 1. And here they come into the stretch of the Battle of Brandywine. And on the outside, here comes John Campbell, and here comes Badlands Nitro with Brian Sears. Down the stretch they pace, and it's Badlands Nitro taking command and drawing clear. Badlands Nitro wins it.
Brian Sears does it again here. Perfect second over trip. Badlands Nitro wins by 2. Second, Mystery Chase and Dave Pallone, who came a 27-1 last quarter to get up for second. And third was Dolly, Ron Pierce. Time of the mile, 1:50.2. It was a new stakes record. Sears had the stakes record last year with Always a Virgin, 1:51.3. Here's more from the winning connections. You raced him here last week in the 3-year-old Open. Was that pretty much to get a start over the surface?
Yeah, he hadn't raced in a while since Meadowlands Pace, and I was really pleased the way he raced last week. I couldn't be happier.
Let's talk about the trip. You drew the rail. Probably everybody outside of you was a little bit nervous that you had the rail. You were the one to beat the 7-5 favorite going into the race. You worked out a perfect second over trip. Was that your plan, just to come from off the pace, hope to get cover?
Really went into the race pretty open-minded. Really didn't know what horses were going to be leaving. Some of the horses I thought were going to be leaving weren't, and you know, vice versa. So just play it by ear and try and make the best of the situation.
You're in an unbelievable situation. You have 4 millionaires in your barn currently in training today. Obviously the newest one here, Badlands Nitro, Western Ace, Total Truth, Southwind Link. Times are good.
Yeah, I wish I had all that money left, though.
Yeah, goes fast. Well, what was he like leading up to today? What was his week like?
I don't know. He got sick on the Meadowlands Pace elimination, and he kind of fed into the final. It wasn't his best race, and he kind of drawed bad, and he's bounced back well. That's why he's off 3 weeks, just trying to get him healed back up, and seemed to be working.
What's next for him?
Mr. Kelly, I think, and I are considering going to the Cane Pace.
Cane Pace? Well, Brian Sears won it last year with Always a Virgin. You took it in 2006 with Total Truth. Seems likely that the two of you should team up with Badlands Nitro in 2008.
We're hoping.
Stay with us. When we come back, the big day at Harrah's Chester continues. We'll have a look at the $500,000 Colonial Trot and also the Valley Forge for 3-year-old pacing fillies, so don't you dare go away.
Alex is the food guy. He's actually forgotten more about lamb than you'll ever know. He made the reservation, he ordered the wine, and he's the one to thank for this meal. So while you know terms like split aces and double down, he knows terms like drawn butter and pan-seared. And when dinner comes, there's just something nice about having him at the table. That's why he'll always be a part of your group. Everyone plays a part at Harrah's.
This is where it begins. Here's where it ends.
Ron Pierce urging him on. It's Donato Hanover. It's the Donato Tonian.
Hanover Shoe Farms, the greatest name in harness racing.